So in the past, we have tackled what would happen if you ended up in Yinsoki. But in this case, we're going, what would happen if a Touhou character ended up in our world? I'm not talking about the outside world where Usami is from. No, our world, the one with Taco Bell. So you might be wondering, which Touhou character am I gonna focus on? Well, after much deliberation, I've decided that the Touhou character we're gonna pipe into this isekai with a magical trunk-kun is none other than Nitori Kawashiro. Because I'm curious to see how she adapts. Now, as you know, Nitori is not fond of humans, but she can be polite, she can work with them, and she is a genius at working with outside world tech. So, in this situation, let's say she ends up, I don't know, somewhere in Japan, right? I think what would happen is that since she looks so human, she would actually be smart enough to blend in. She would probably quickly figure out, I'm not in Kansas anymore. And she'd like, either I'm in the outside world or something wonky is going on. And she would use her technical know-how to basically tinker in a garage like Tony Stark and make something that she could sell for money and use that for room and board and whatever. And from there, she would plan out a scenario of what the hell she's gonna do now that she's in this real world. And then she notices something. The technology here is a lot more advanced than it is back home, because there she only gets the scraps from the outside world, and she can only do so much with them. But here, there's so much. Plus, she's in Japan, which is just like the robotic capital of the world. So I think she'll take all the technology she finds, and she'll build an actual functioning robot that makes everyone go, what the fuck is that? And then the scientist will be like, you are a genius, young lady. And she's like, I'm not young, but thank you. And then they'll pay her a lot of money for her invention. But she's like, no. This is mine. I'm not selling it to you. I'm going to mass produce this and make my own business. You know how we have Nitori Inc. in Sokyo? Well, she's going to go the Tony Stark way and make Nitori Industries. However, she's going to refrain from building warfare weapons, because I've never seen Nitori as someone who would want to build weaponry for hurting other people. Yeah, she can be a bit of a scam artist and a bit of a hateful Sue towards humans, but I can't see her supporting warfare and making weapons. Maybe she'll make like funny like weapons for self-defense and stuff, but I can't see her like doing war mongering or war trading or anything like that. I see her making more like stuff that helps quality of life and funny robot helpers and stuff. And so when the big wigs in the governmental go, hey, could you make us the ultimate doomsday ray? She's like, no. And they're like, we're gonna threaten you then. And then Nitori's like, seriously? That's why I don't like humans. So then they're like, okay, well, she's actually a traitor to the state because she didn't play ball. So I think what would happen is that she would have to use her new monetary might, thanks to being the CEO of Nitori Industries, and she'll just have to be like move to her own nation state, like buy an island and be like, this is where I live now. You have no power over me. Of course, she's lonely because she doesn't have her friends or family anymore, but she's making do. She has a few employees here and there, but I think it would start to get to her. Because, again, she is a Kappa, and no one knows she's a Kappa, right? Fortunately, our world doesn't work on the same logic, so she doesn't need belief to exist here. That's how I believe it would work. But she'll still be very lonely and sad. So, I think we're going to throw in a new challenger. While Nitori is on her island, tinkering away, worrying about never seeing her friends again, we're going to throw in a new character. Who's that character? Well, it's someone who would actually benefit well from coming to our world. Because while Nitori is a technical genius and she was doing all that, this is another character who I think would probably have a fun time here. And that character is, let's see, let me get my invisible dartboard up and figure who that out. Yeah, I haven't come up with them yet. I'm making this up as I go. Let's see. The character who would benefit most and who would complement Nitori would be Thwacken. New Hojo. You know, the legendary New, her. Because she can be unidentified and stuff. So she would come to the outside world, and like people wouldn't know what she looked like because she would look like what she wanted to look like to them, so to speak. So she's living her life. She appeared like 2 months after Nitori, so soon she starts hearing about Nitori Industries, and she's like, what the heck, Nitori? They're not exactly friends, they just know each other from Gensokyo. So eventually she makes her way to Nitori's island. But before this happens, she gets in a bit of a kerfuffle, because she decides to stick up for someone who's being harassed in Japan, and as we know in Japan, that's a big no-no because of the status quo. Well, still, that's a video for another day, though. So they're like, you can't do that, you're breaking the rules. So she's like, screw you guys, flips them off, and then goes to Nitori's island. They meet there, and Nitori's like, holy crap, someone else from Gensokyo is here? And New is like, yeah, I just ended up here. So I think New would start working with Nitori, and then Nitori's kind of like working on a dimensional portal because she wants to get back to Gensokyo, because they still have no idea how the hell they ended up here. And in the end, I think what would happen is that Yukari would come to save them because, you know, fucking barriers mean nothing to her. And then Nitori, as they're about to enter the gap, she's like, hey, Yukari-sama, because even Nitori is polite to Yukari. You don't friggin' be rude to Yukari. She's like, do you think you could set up a portal to this island so I can come back to here whenever I want, since I don't need faith to exist in this world? I was only worried about not meeting my friends again, but if I can come and go as I please, I'd like to continue working on my technology. And Yukari's like, you know what? I can deal with that. As long as you don't threaten Gensokyo, that's fine. I'll let you do that. And then Nu's like, yeah. And she's like, New, do you want to join me? And Nu's like, not really. I didn't really want to end up here in the first place. But I had a lot of fun just fucking with more people, because they really believe in ghost stories, so I can have a little fun there. So New heads on back. Nitori gets her cap of friends, and they all become employed at Nitori Industries in the outside world. And they start building an empire out there. And I think it would be very interesting. I don't know where it would go. I don't know if America would be like, nah, you can't do that. We're gonna take your oil or something. But it's a very interesting thought experiment, because you realize that compared to a human going to Gensokyo, a Touhou character coming to our world, depending on who it is, they might thrive here. And I think it would actually be very cool to see them here. And other than that, I don't think I have much to say on this subject. But if you want to see me continue this world I'm building of Touhou characters in our world, let me know, and I will definitely do a part 2. But yeah, that's what I would think would happen if a Touhou character ended up in our world.